Remember what we used to say, Joe? Tacos,
Yep.
tacos, y más tacos, or what?
Tacos, tacos, and more tacos. I can help you.
Where'd you get that from, bro?
Actually, I don't remember. I really don't. Where did we get that? Oh man, I really don't remember. But good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for episode 4 of Between Two Borders. My name is Joe Misael Posada Triana.
My name is Anacleto Contreras.
And we're excited to have y'all here, right? If you're joining us via Spotify or YouTube or the Instagram, thank you. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to everyone that's following us already on our social media platforms. We appreciate you all, and we're hoping that if anything, we're providing some entertainment to your lives, especially with COVID and everything going on now and what have you. But no, man. So how you doing today, bro?
Hey, I'm doing good, blessed, and like you said, prayers to those individuals that are going through some tough times during these times. But hey, just keep your prayers up, keep your praying needs strong, and if you do need any assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to any one of us, Joe. I mean, we're willing to help, wherever we can, or refer people to individuals that are doing good in our community.
No, for sure, for sure. And if anything, if it's not us, we have a couple of organizations that are doing amazing work during this time. They're helping our community. So yeah, for with that said, definitely let us know if there's anything that we can definitely do to help. With that also being said, hey bro, I was just thinking, there was remember that one time we visited we drove down to A&M and we surprised you. I think if I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember. There was at some point where we just like I think we just texted you and told you, "Hey, bro, what are you doing?" And it was like, man, I want to say it was crazy hours. Anna, one of
I
our
bet.
one part of the team, she joined us on that endeavor down there, and then Janet as well, another friend of ours that we all went to Adamson. We all went to high school together, and that's the beauty of it. It was a select few of us that actually have stayed connected. We part of the team, part of the torta crew. That's what we call each other. Even though I'm wearing my concha shirt, I think I should invest in a torta shirt. Shout out to Madam Yoseling for this design. She's actually she did this amazing work. But yeah, we've actually you all have heard about our team, even though we didn't address them as our team. Nina, which we went to high school with, and her and I went to UT Dallas together. She makes part of the team. Anna, one of our other BFFs, she also part of the team. We all went to high school together, and then obviously Contreras and myself, all 4 of us. But yeah, bro, remember the one time we just hit you up, be like, hey fam, like we're like, what are you doing? And you're like, oh no, just reading something, because I think you had something due the next day,
Most likely, bro. Most likely by that time, I had things to do.
right?
Before
but
that, things.
by that time we got it together. But yeah, it was just interesting because yeah, it was one of those times where I think we didn't know what it was a Friday night yeah, it was a Friday night. We didn't know what to do, and we're like, man, you know what? Let's go visit Anacleto. Let's go visit Cleto right now. And we're like, you know what? We just stopped at our local grocery store and
That's
bought
right.
some snacks and drove 3 hours down south. Man,
Some
that was
orange juice.
some Moj at 2020 for the year, right? But
But not
so
driving. But not
with
driving.
that, right, not until
Not the
we got to
driver. Not the
campus.
driver.
No, but yeah, we like to thank you all for tuning in and joining us. I think if you joined us in our last episode, we talked about top 10% rule, the top 10% law, what have you, the effects that it had, and you got a little bit of insight of our first semester and first year college experience at myself at UT Dallas, which is about 30 minutes up north from Oak Cliff, and then Anacleto's experience out in A&M, 3 hours down south from us. And the first year was a struggle, man, wasn't that?
It was the best part of our life. I would say. We learned the most about ourselves during that year. And but yeah, bro, it was a lot. It was crazy, scary mentally, but hey, we made
Right.
it.
We made it, and actually with that, I mean, I know in the last episode we also talked about how we were on the verge of dropping out and exploring options, whether we went military or otherwise. While we're on that subject, with that of thinking of like, man, like we wanted to drop out. What do you think, or in our experience, in your experience, really, being down in A&M, 3 hours away from family and us and what have you. Like what kept you going outside, from personal things to actually keep pushing yourselves, to push yourself to stay at A&M the remaining what 3 years, 2.5 years, and ultimately graduate from Magtown,
He said Agtown.
Aggietown.
No, I would say that the biggest thing is family, Joe. I mean, well, besides family, faith. I did grow up in a faithful house. More in Mexico. My grandparents were very faithful individuals, and I was prayed every morning. I was prayed every night, and I was prayed between the day. But I think it was faith that really. I did lose faith in regards to questioning, God for various different things. Up to that point as well. But family as well, Joe. Shout out to my mom. She was she's a I would say one of the strongest women that I do know. For those I'm gonna keep saying it, right? For those that have read the book, understand my relationship with my mom, and it's it's a relationship that I feel that needs for my part more things. But bro, she kept the whole house in check, bro. She kept everything together, and I feel family, faith. My grandparents. And I always say that the reason I got my college degree was from my parents, right? For the sacrifices that they did, just to say that your sacrifice was not in vain, right? That I'm gonna do what I gotta do because you've been doing what you had to do and still are doing it, right? Whenever I did mention when my dad got in an accident, right, he couldn't work, right? So she had to figure out, and she did figure out, bro. She worked days, worked nights just to make sure that you know they kept food on the table for my little sisters. They kept the paying the house bill, paying this, paying that, and I think that's with majority of our communities, Joe. They figure things out, right? They really don't worry about themselves. And when you asked me that question, Joe, I don't think mental health was a priority for me in college during that first year, but I had to learn how to develop that. And that's something that affects my parents and affects our community at large. We don't worry about ourselves as long as the people around us are taken care of, right? And I mean that's just our survival mechanism. Coming to a different country and being able to achieve majority of the time more things than people born in America achieve. But I mean, personal, Joe, I mean, um, stress management, time management, seeking advice, seeking assistance. I had to learn to accept people, the help that people gave me. It took me until my junior year at A&M to actually like get involved into organizations. And that's because, I mean, I was in the course, so that was a big organization within itself. I'll let you answer that. Then I'll get into the different, we'll get into the different things of college. But I mean, besides that, you, Joe, what kept you going, Joe?
Man, so something along those lines, man. Like same thing. Like I know for me, the main one, the first and foremost, was like for me was family. I think like for most of my life, I knew the importance of of what it meant to be part of a family, right? My father, my mother, and my having my sister, which is actually my sister's actually 4 years younger than I am. So when I went off to college, back in '09, she was actually starting up high school. So for her, so seeing someone, and and it was interesting enough because like being the first in the family, like I would always tell her and even my parents and even our students, we tell them like we're the guinea pigs, man. Like we're
Yeah.
we're the test dummies, in figuring out what is life after high school in whatever sense. And so for me it was my parents, because and it was interesting, and it was an interesting dynamic because like I had like part of it in my jefecita, my mom, she would always tell me like, mijo, like we're gonna go to college. I don't know how we're gonna do it, don't know how we're gonna pay for it, but we're gonna make sure that we go. And I was like, okay, yeah, well, you're right, we were definitely gonna go. And then my dad at that time when I was still in high school, especially running up to senior year, I had been working with my dad in landscaping since I was 8 years old. He's the one that introduced me to understanding the value of a dollar, understanding that if you wanted something you had to earn it. and that tough love mentality, and ultimately to help me develop my work ethic, right? And so for him, he was like, "You're gonna go, you're gonna work. Why do you need college and what have you?" And he never may have not never said that directly, but I remember him and I, we had an interesting dynamic, a different. As I was coming up in high school, because of that, he expected me to be working, on the weekends, and so I kept doing that in college. I would go Monday to Fridays, be on campus, especially freshman year, and then Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, I would go back, take the train, the red line, the Dart red line from Richardson, all the way back to Oak Cliff, which was an hour and a half train ride, just to make it back on time to get ready with them and go work. And so that dynamic with him and my mom, is what motivated me, but then more importantly my sister, because understanding that in our households we have a lot of machismo that exists, right? And so I remember having even conversations or hearing other folks saying like, oh no, like their daughters wouldn't go to they're not going to go to continue school because they had to stay home and clean and help around the house, or what have you. And so I remember that even if there was ever a hint of that conversation at home, my mom would like snip it right off the bat and say no, like Wendy's gonna go wherever she wants to go. And ultimately she did. She went to Babson College, which is it's a 5-hour flight, near Boston, Massachusetts, and which is a 2-day drive essentially from Dallas or from Oak Cliff. And that's what kept pushing me, understanding that I had my family to an extent looking up to me and understanding like these are all the trials and tribulations we're going through, and understanding that it's opened up the door for her, but more importantly, because she was already doing what she needed to do. My sister, she was, my dad would always tell me growing up, your sister's smarter than you, and I'm like, well, we hope so, because I don't have anyone to an extent to look up in terms of when it came to post-secondary education, because when it came to work ethic, man, my dad best believed that I looked up to him and what have you, and then my mom understanding that the nurturing, the caring for others and what have you. So I mean that's what really kept me pushing the envelope forward and understanding like, hey, this is what I need to be successful. This is a reason why I need to stay in college and graduate, among involvement and what have you. And you mentioned that, so because I know in the last episode you also mentioned that you were involved in the Corps Cadets, and so for good or bad, that definitely added, or took away from your experience. But other than outside of the Corps Cadets, well, I guess not even outside, but like what are some things that you, like, being in the Corps Cadets, that you experience in terms of like leadership development, time management, or stress management, and what other orgs, if any, were you involved in College Station?
Um, during, I guess because I didn't really complete the 4 years of the core,
Mm-hmm.
3.5, and before I was about to walk that stage, I decided to get out of it, just because I mean, some things that did not align, with my values and morals. So I did it for that reason. But the core taught me, I mean, it does teach you a lot of leadership skills, right? It does teach you a lot of time management, and you gain that understanding as you progress during the years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Freshman year, I mean, I was a fish in the Corps Cadets. I mean, I'm just a person there, and I really don't know much of it. I wish I knew the fish answer, right? I'm a dumb fish, something like that. They don't say that no more because it's hazing or something. But it did teach me a lot of leadership skills. My sophomore year, whenever I became a piss head, or a sophomore, that's what they call it, a sophomore. I enjoyed creating the different operations, right? What are we gonna do? And the way I structured that, it was in real detail. Like, we're gonna wake the freshmen around this time. By 5:00 something, we're gonna do this. By 5:00 this, we're gonna do that. So I mean, that taught me how to truly be logistical in a sense, with that, and time management, logistic skills. And as I progressed through the years, I became, I mean, the gunnery sergeant my sophomore year. So I was in charge of further developing the training. And then my senior year, I became the I think what the operations, some dealing with operations and logistics, just because I mean, it was, I liked it. I like doing that. I like understanding how things work, why things work, and things like that. Besides the core, I mean, it took me until my junior year to truly like get out of my shell. I mean, because I mean I still was scared. I mean, I started really like enjoying the core, enjoying the things that we did there, the exercise, waking up, running. I mean, there was a point where I couldn't run because I mean I really messed up my knees and something else, which I don't want to say here, uh, but it took me to yeah junior year, Joe. I joined an organization, MSC KMAC. And I really enjoyed it. And just like the comment you made, Joe, about LULAC and those individuals, I'm like, where have y'all been when I needed y'all? Whenever I joined that organization, I mean, there was more of my people. I mean, I felt at home, bro. Like I felt that family connection that I've been wanting for those first 2 years when I joined. Talking to those individuals in Spanish, like like being friend. And the other thing also, bro, I mean, whenever we had the individuals from Adamson join the Coral Cadets, as well, right, just like trying to nurture them, care for them, to make sure that they not get overwhelmed like we did, dude, because I mean it affected me mentally a lot. Like I mean, like a lot, bro. But from that, I met an individual. He's a lawyer, and I did an internship with him. I mean, he exposed us to a lot. He took us to Austin. We met lawyers, we met senators, legislators, different individuals, and I think from there he showed me more about our representation. That our representation is out there. Um, which is not many individuals know it, Joe. And like I think that's one of the things that for me allowed me to continue and graduate from A&M, just to say that more people like myself are doing this, and this is not new. This is not something that happens in a full moon or a blue moon, right? But bro, it took me a long time to get out of my shell. It's just I've been in a tier one institution, predominantly white institution, and me Mexican, bro. I used to wear cowboy boots, like, bro.
Oh yeah.
My buddies used to say, "Look, that's a narc. That's a narc right there." And I mean, right? It's just the different cultures and stuff. But I used to be cowboyed out, Joe, like full hat, full boots,
Oh, I
Dolce
remember
Gabbana boots, bro.
Dolce
And
Gabbana,
and,
bro.
and bro, it was interesting, and I during my time at A&M, I met a lot of people. I mean, I have good friends that I met in the horticulture department. I was in the horticulture minor in horticulture. I mean, I got my major was. I mean, I ended up doing university studies just because I mean I lost so many years trying to understand myself, trying to develop those skills that I mean I really didn't get a. To me, I really didn't get an actual degree from A&M. I mean, I mean,
It's a
uh,
paper, right? It's a diploma that you have.
global
But
arts, design, planning, construction, with a minor in business administration and a minor in horticulture, bro. So that's the name of my whole degree. But I met good people. I mean, I met one of my buddies. I mean, he's good friends, and the other one Vietnamese. I mean, listening to his story, bro, how he came to America, and coming into the environment that he did, bro. He graduated from Townview. I mean, smart individual. But it made my story seem like, dude, you didn't have it as bad. But I mean, just like you in our previous video, you mentioned the reason why this podcast is everyone has their own stories, right? And my struggle does not is better than your struggle. Your struggle's not better than my struggle. Every single one of us struggles and deals with things differently, and that's something that we should be proud of. And right, don't ever be discouraged to share your truth just because others don't like your truth. And I mean, that's because others didn't experience it as you did, and this is your reality. But bro, it took me that long to join an organization. While many individuals freshman year they come in, oh, I'm joining this sorority, this fraternity, oh, I'm joining this, I'm joining that, oh, I'm being part of the law school, the med school. I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to survive. I'm just trying to hide away from my upper. See, those individuals that know about the core, bro, they will know. Like, I'm just trying to hide from my upperclassmen because I don't want to get in the quad and lock up and greet all these people. I just no, right. Like I said, I mentioned a little bit, bro. I used to sleep sometimes in the library, sometimes in the restroom of the library, bro, because I just didn't want to go. That's how, bro. That's how crazy. Like, I guess. See, I was a little hard ass, whatever. In high school, little wannabe. I call myself a little wankster. Growing up, whatever. I did this, I did that, but I mean, I didn't do it because I was real, bro. I just did it because I didn't know what the hell. I needed somewhere to fit in. As an early immigrant. But yeah, bro. There was this guy. He's from South Africa, Victoria, South Africa. Big swole, dude. He punked me out many times, bro. But he picked on me after. I try to be tough, bro, but I couldn't be tough with him because he broke me. But it's a good guy, and I mean, I wish him the best wherever he's at. But yeah, bro. But how long did he take you to join, or what organization did you join, Joe? Or how was that for you?
So I mean, I mean, my freshman year I lived on campus, and so I was part of our whatever cohort, and I forget what it was. And I mean, and it was good. I mean, we got a chance to really meet, and I really did get a chance to meet some at, at that time some good friends outside of high school because I was only 30 minutes away from home. So I mean, I literally just hop on the train and head back home, and I was still back, with people that I knew at least, right? So I was part of those, and it wasn't. So for me, what actually ended up happening first is that I actually started working on campus, my second semester at UT Dallas, with and under the community engagement department, and so I became a G-Force mentor. So essentially, I had an opportunity to do basically what I do now as a professional. I did it as a college student, and which was great for me because I mean, I was fresh out, understanding the process, and so I actually met a lot of great people. Actually, one of my other really good friends, he was a student. He was a high school student when I started working, at his high school, and so it was really neat, just seeing all of that good stuff. And so for me, then that's when I joined, joined LULAC on campus, and I met some amazing people there too, as well. And then, but yeah, so I mean, it wasn't until maybe like sophomore year when I really started to get kind of involved. But again, because again, the first 2 years was kind of like you mentioned, surviving. Like we just the first semester was just survive, just stay on campus, right? Just manage and stay afloat. Second semester was a come up, the catch up. Well, really the catch up.
The
Second
come
semester
up.
was a catch up, like right. And then after freshman year, we're like, okay, I think we got to figure it out. So next year we're exploring, right? It was an exploring stage, and then boom, junior year was a come up. That's when we started like getting involved. And I think, I mean, for us, I mean, I remember I was actually dedicating more time to go. Both of us were hanging out for us to hang out. So like we mentioned earlier, like when we visited you on campus, for me that was much better than me joining an organization because it was a comfort level. Like, yeah, let's go kick it. You know what I mean?
Counseling sessions, Joe.
Right, and those were our counseling sessions. Just taking that drive, that and honestly, it was taking that drive, the 3 hour drive. Sometimes you're like, you know what, I made it in 2.5 hours. But because I was just zoned out and thinking about things, and what have you. So I think that it wasn't until junior year that I really started enjoying, really enjoying, and joining LULAC. And then after that, I joined the Greek life. It was, well, I started exploring Greek life because I technically didn't join until I was a senior, which was the fall semester of 2012. And at that point, it was my second to last semester, so I was a senior. And then when I crossed, became a part of Sigma Lambda Beta. So for us, we're like, we're known for being coast to coast. We have a lot of chapters here in Texas, and so in engaging other fellow brothers, and at the time they weren't, but they were engaged, talking to us and what have you, communicating with nationals. And actually, it was the exact same time that summer when we were doing the paperwork that we were doing. I think we went to the Grand Canyon twice.
Yep.
It was for sure us two. Bonnie joined us one time. Alicia, which was another good friend of ours, that she actually took calculus A, B, and BC at Adamson.
She's
Shout out to
smart.
her, very, 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 very smart individual out there. And then with Ms. Mac, and so so for me, I really didn't really start engaging until it was junior year and senior year, and it was like, and like, oh, like this is once I started getting involved, like it was like, oh, this is the true college experience. But by that time, I was already commuting. I had purchased my home with my pots back here, back in Oak Cliff, and so having to drive all the way from here to campus, which actually, I mean, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was 25-minute drive. Every now and then, Nina actually started working with us as well. And then Toño as well worked with us, which he also, shout out to him. All of us again went to high school. We were in the same calculus class, and so Nina and I would sometimes commute, whether it was on the train or riding together, driving together, and what have you, back and forth to campus. Or even when I started actually getting involved, it was when we were like, oh snap, like this is the true college experience. And so at that point, man, like at that point, we were already doing, I think we were doing much better academically than we were doing our first semester, but it was an upper hill battle because, like you've mentioned, the first semester, the first year, that 2.0 GPA, 2.5 GPA really, really hurt us. And this is for anyone out there, like they can attest, like you can do extremely well, like you can pop out your 3.0s, 3.5s, 3.9s, 4.0s, but it only takes one semester, one class to drop that GPA down, and then the rest of it is like it's an uphill battle. And so I think that's what really kind of like the involvement on campus. But I think really like what also helped me was just I kept on working. Like I was working at H&R Block part time. I was working on campus as well, and then I was doing landscaping. And so for me, it was just involvement, and then on top of that, student involvement and what have you. I think what really gave me a well-rounded experience. So even though I wasn't academically ready coming in, I mean, it's still the engagement on campus. I saw people that actually cared for me, and I admit I have a lot of good friendships that they came about from going to campus to UTD and being involved. I wouldn't have met them if we just kept on going. And even for me, like even taking that bus and that train from Oak Cliff, that's how I actually found out a couple of us. I mean, we didn't become like great friends, but there was literally like three or four of us that, well, you couldn't tell at the beginning when we got on the bus, because on the way to Richardson, you have El Central College as well. So a lot of people, they went to the community college, and so they'll get off there. But literally, as you kept on going, the 1 hour and a half train bus ride to Richardson to UTD, you like the same. You're not gonna have like the same group of people that went unless you're going to campus. And so that's where I found out actually there was like three of us. There was another gentleman, I forget his name. He went to Roosevelt, and I think he was an engineer, and he was going to UTD as well. And it took like maybe a month or two for us to kind of acknowledge one another, because like we were just doing our own thing. We were in our own world. I would sometimes take naps on the train, man. It's an hour and a half. It's a great way to nap. But and things like that. And so, but again, like I think that like those experiences is what really, really kind of shape ultimately graduating from campus, being involved with the multicultural center, the community engagement department. Shout out to them again one time for that, because that's really what had really pushing forward, and then ultimately develop what our support system was, right? Because we kind of briefly talked about it, like our parents, and like you mentioned, like with your book, and for those that haven't had a chance to read it, is Who Am I Becoming, right? The title of your book.
Sure.
And so como se llama, so it's on Amazon. So, and if you want a copy to read, give me a shout out, and I will let you borrow one of the copies that I have, and so you can read it. And but it goes it goes a little bit more in depth, and like your experience with with your family and what have you. But that support system is really the reason why I was successful, is because I knew I had people I can count on. So at the starting school, I only had the same folks, our circle that we had from high school, which we know, it ultimately dwindled down. I mean, I want to say you were a popular guy in high school. I mean,
That's
we
what they
both
say.
were. Monday.
That's what they say, Joe. The
That's what they
biggest
say,
forever.
right? We were both involved in high school heavily to an extent, and we were part of groups that that our social groups were big enough where we knew like we knew somebody in each group, whether you were the athlete, you were the cheerleader, you were the smart one, you were in the JROTC one, you were the party goer, or the whatever you were. Like we kind of had a connection between all of them. But then as you transition, you realize that after high school, the only thing that we had in common was going to Adamson. And so they kind of dwindled down, and that's what we developed our torta crew for sure. And what have you, and that support system. And again, Miss Mac helped us a lot too. I mean, she those trips that we took down to the Grand Canyon, I remember it's just like she was just like, well, let's just hop on and drive, and we are going, and just understanding that what did that meant. Because I mean, for me, I only went to one, I want to say, and we went to one, I only had a one family like vacation, and that was to San Antonio. So that was still in Texas, and I was in elementary school when that happened. I didn't leave. Well, I guess I left to a conference one time to DC for 1 week, but that was with like strangers. But to go with people that I knew outside and really enjoyed a week or 2 weeks worth, it wasn't until Miss Mac and you and Bonnie, we went to the Grand Canyon. So I think all those experiences, eventually those crumbs of experiences add up to como se llama, to just ultimately being like, man, like, this is what has led to ensure that we were successful in that sense.
Yeah. No, no, I agree. I think I think I attribute me going and doing study abroad to Mama Joe, just because I mean she showed, besides the fact that her as a white woman, she showed the genuine of what unconditional love is for students, right? And I feel she saw us more as human beings that needed guidance and understanding, because no brown, no black, no other individual in our community was giving us that, right? That nurturing, that caring, of showing us life, like real life, bro.
Hmm.
So her taking us outside of Texas, bro, showed us that there is life outside our community, right? There is beauty, looking at the Grand Canyon, bro, looking at different things that, bro, I mean, not many people get to do that, bro. And I mean, there was, I mean, I'm pretty sure you remember, there was a tragic incident at the Grand Canyon when we were there,
Yeah,
right? Individual was struck by lightning, and it just shows, I mean, that life can be taken away in an instant, right?
that is true.
um but her showing me that, it empowered me to go and study abroad, bro, right? I went to study, I mean, I went to a typical country that many individuals that do go study abroad go, right? I went to Spain, to Barcelona, Sevilla, Madrid, and then ended up going to London for a little 12-hour shift. So we decided to go down to Soho. But not many people can say that, they've done that still nowadays, Joe. And I took out that loan. That's the thing that I wasn't afraid. I'm like, I'm gonna go to my parents. I'm gonna go. They're like, we don't have money. You don't gotta worry about that. This is me. I'll take the loan out. Let the government come for me some other time, right? So I took that loan out. I asked for a different family loan. Shout out to Jay Lewis, Lawn Services. I mean, he gave me what I needed to pay for my flight, and allowed me to work. Right, so I worked with him for free for the remaining of the summer whenever I came back, to pay for him. Not many individuals do that, bro. So I mean, I'm really
Yeah.
thankful for him to allow me to work for him and just pay him back like that, right? Other individuals say, "No, man, I mean, you can come work for me. I mean, but you're gonna eventually have to pay me back with your money." But I mean, it was fun, bro, and because of her, I did that. I think if she did not allow us to experience that, I don't think I would have studied abroad, Joe. Like honestly, I don't think I would have. I mean, okay, cool. What for? Right? What,
Right.
what, what am
Yeah.
I gonna do in Spain? But I mean, she opened that up, bro, and she took us to Las Vegas, bro.
I
Right?
remember that's the first
To a
concert we went to.
Pitbull concert,
People-
bro. Dang, bro, it was fun, man. And what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas,
right.
which I mean, nothing but I mean,
Long drive back. That's all I gotta
that's
say. That was a very very long drive back to Albuquerque, New Mexico.
yeah, bro.
That
And
was a very brutal
12-hour drive, bro. 12
straight,
hour
no
drive
stop.
straight. No, but yeah, bro. I mean, like, and I think that's the biggest thing, Joe. Like, to me, the best skill that an individual can develop is the skill to be adaptable to any environment that you're in, right? And I feel that we are capable of doing that two ways: either by ourselves, and I feel we hurt ourselves mentally, emotionally, if we go that right,
Mhm.
or through support, and guidance, right? And right, if you have an individual come into institution and they do not know how to navigate it, right, they'll eventually develop it, right? They'll eventually develop it, or break down, come home, right?
Mhm.
And if they, like you said, right, a support an A team at their local community, and like us, right, and we want the audience, the individuals listening to us, to treat us as such and hold us accountable to what we say, right? And if you needed assistance, need guidance with whatever it may be, you're in high school, you're in college, you're wanting to apply to grad school, I mean, reach out to us. We're here to assist you in that. But support system, adaptability, and willingness to ask for help, Joe. I think we're too
Yeah.
prideful individuals, bro. Our community is too prideful in asking for help, and I think that if we feel that if we ask for help, it makes us less of a person, bro.
Mhm.
And I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it makes you less of a person if you're willing to sacrifice your own self and hurt yourself to go through that, right? Let other people help you. I mean, that is the reason why they're there, Joe. And being first generation, being first of a lot of things. I mean, sometimes we can't do things by ourselves. And shout out to, like you said, Mama. I mean, you know, and shout out to, I mean, my support system at A&M. I mean, it was a lot of older individuals that I eventually met my junior and senior year. And you know I didn't know that at first, but afterwards, I mean, they were individuals in the Republican Party, and I mean, I didn't see them as individuals in the Republican Party. I just see them the individuals that help me whenever I needed help. Right? That's the way I see those individuals, and when people here in Dallas that said they were willing to help us turn their backs on us. I mean, if you turn your backs on me, I mean, yeah,
Right.
get help wherever whoever helps me, and I associate them as individuals that help me whenever I needed that assistance. So
No, for sure, and I think that's the important part. So with that being said, like if knowing everything that we know, experience everything that we experienced from high school to college, if you can go back, would you do anything differently? And I guess specifically like from transitioning from high school to college, and the things that we lived through, would you do any of that differently?
I like honestly, bro, knowing myself and understanding like nowadays, like understanding myself and knowing myself, I wouldn't have gone to A&M, Joe. Like I would have chosen to go to a different institution that encompasses who I was at that time, Joe.
Mhm.
All right, because I mean A&M was too big of a large school that I mean I needed a smaller university, a smaller college, right? I
Mhm.
needed a college that really knew who I was, right? And like, because I feel like during my early years in schooling, bro, the way that I was asking for help was getting in trouble, doing drugs, being in a gang. I mean, and even to that, I mean, I really don't consider that much of a gang. But during that time, I mean, it was my family. It was those individuals that took me in. But that's how I was asking for help, Joe, by doing things that not a normal kid would do, and no one really cared or saw the pattern. Like whatever, this kid is just he doesn't care about school. He's just a bad kid, a joke maker, whatever. God help him. He's gonna end up failing in life, whatever. But yeah, bro, like I would have chosen a smaller school, a smaller student to teacher ratio. I mean, I would have not been in depth much, but I mean, I'm thankful for the experiences that I've had, and I think if I would have changed that, I don't think I would have been the person that I am right now. And so I don't know. I guess this
Yeah, right.
this
Yeah, it's a
question it's a interesting question because like I would not become the person I am if I chose differently, and if I chose differently, I might have been somebody else, and I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't think my passion would have came out right because I A&M. I mean, education. It showed me education was my passion whenever I was
Mhm.
doing the written counts job work study. But yeah, and you, Joe?
Man, for me, man, that, again, it's a difficult question to answer because I mean, if anything that I would have changed is like the butterfly effect, right? Like
Yeah.
it would have changed the outcome and to an extent, and I think for me, like I if anything, I think I would have wished I wished or what I would do differently was be more embracing of who and what I was becoming at that time, because I mean even in our undergrad, we all, I mean, we went through some dark stuff too, like dark
Yep.
stages in our lives where we were just broken down mentally, physically, and we're just and which led us to question why even go to college, why even bother. And oftentimes some of these things our parents didn't even know. I know my parents didn't. Like my mom always tells me like she's grateful that I didn't bring problems at home. But that's not to say that I didn't have problems, right? Like it was
Mhm.
just I was just that, and I didn't even say that good. I just knew to hide him away, or put him away or not bring him into the household, because I think that's something that I was taught, that I mean, if there was ever a problem, we would deal with it as a family. But there were just some things that I felt like I thought I needed to go through myself, and I wish I would have done the opposite, embraced the fact that that we would have gone through it as a family. And I feel like my at least for sure, my dad he's old school, he's older as well, and so my dad comes from a single family home, and where that's why he had to drop off from elementary school, start working in the rancho back at home, like, and oftentimes that's similar stories that we have and our students have. And so I wish I would have embraced the fact that understanding what my parents' stories were, and knowing that they really truly wanted the best for us, right? Best for me, and really bringing them in a lot of things. If I was struggling in campus, like my parents didn't often know where when I was failing. They didn't know that I was struggling with classes, because I mean, not that they didn't care, but again, it wasn't like college was important, but it wasn't a priority because we were working on the weekends doing landscaping. I was working, so whether it was helping fund myself, fund my life, like making sure that my bills were being paid and what have you, not having them. Because I think there's something where my dad did, he did an amazing job at ensuring that if I ever needed anything, to let me know that he was there, but not ones that I ever like that I go up to him and tell him, hey, I need X, Y, and Z, because like I just knew how he is and was, right. And that was a different time also that we can definitely touch on later. But just understanding that, and I think for me, like if anything, it's just embracing that, and see, and also for me, like I'm, again, I mentioned in the first episode, I'm one of nine. And so one of my brothers, he lived in Plano at the time, and so I wish I would have taken advantage of that more, in terms of like getting acquainted more. Like he was actually there for me for a lot of the things that that I was going through without him realizing. We never really talked about family things, to an extent. At least now as adults we do, right? Because we're in a place where we can actually have those conversations and deep dive into understanding our family dynamic, because he comes from he has a different perspective, a different experience, than I do, but ultimately, like, we can still relate it in that sense. And so he was there at a time where even when you and I kept in touch, it's at the end of the day we were still 3 hours apart, right? So it's like, whether I remember when going to, when we would go and be back together, like during spring break over the summer, we hanged out a lot, and we did whatever we did, right? All those good things, whether it was traveling to the Grand Canyon or just enjoying what we could here. He helped me understand a lot of things. And so I wish, one of the things is like just embracing that a little bit more, accepting that more. But I mean, I that's the reason why ultimately I chose UT Dallas to go to as well, because I mean, it was a small campus, but even then it was still, man, it was still interesting, because I mean, I still had to we faced a lot of things in terms of like understanding, like, where are people that, right. But I liked it because it was close enough to home where if I needed to get away, I could, hop on a train, and an hour and a half later I'm home, or drive 20-25 minutes. But I mean, ultimately, I think, like, it's like UTD was good for me, but I think it was just everything outside of the campus itself. And then also like taking it more serious, because I remember mentioning that to someone, telling them, "Oh, I didn't take it as a priority." They're like, "Oh, so you had it like that?" I'm like, "No, on the contrary." Like, I was like, if I didn't get the aid or the merit based or the need based scholarships slash grants that I received, I wouldn't have gone to UT Dallas. I would have gone elsewhere, And so, but I didn't fully take advantage of the collegiate experience, at the very beginning, understanding that, taking my academics seriously, because someone was investing in my education, And so, and it wasn't until, again, when we started getting involved on campus, that we realized this is very important. And ultimately, I majored in emerging media and communications, which literally very early on I knew it was cool. I liked it. It had that appeal to it, but it wasn't my passion. My passion was education. Raul, shout out to him. He's the director out at the community engagement department. He gave me the opportunity to work under, within his department as a G-Force mentor. That right there gave me my foundation to what I do professionally right now. And so, and I appreciate that, because again, he may just see it like, "Oh, I was just doing my job, you were a good candidate." But to me, it was like he took the time to invest in me, knowing like, hey, like, I see something that I may not even see in myself, and whatnot. So, again, shout out to him as well. Shout out to them, the UTD. I know he's a great supporter of A&M, and you going to A&M, well, his those inside jokes.
Bro, he supports A&M. I think he's A&M's biggest fan, and
Right.
he'll when he listens to, he'll agree, right, without any
He'll-
hesitation. He'll agree, and shout out to
No,
him.
right? No, but for real. So, any last comments? Any last words of wisdom before we wrap up here?
No, but just that. I mean, I think that everyone's college experience will always look different, Joe.
Hmm.
And like me and you. I mean, we have similarities, we have differences. Similarities between our family, differences between our family, and difference in the things that we do. And I mean, that's the beauty about being able to sit down with individuals and just converse and
Yep.
just talk. And sometimes we'll never know, because I mean, we know what we know, right, what we share with each other. But I mean, I'm pretty sure there has been times where we felt so bad that, I mean, like you said, we had to do this by ourselves, right? and you know, whoever's listening, hopefully someone's listening, right?
Anybody out there?
Anyone out there? No, but you know, for those individuals that are listening, hey man, just keep doing what you got to do, right? Take care of business, and you know, don't give up. You know, you need a support system, like we say, we're here. You know, we'll support you. We'll talk. We'll joke around. I mean, we're good people, and you know, don't think this is who we were back in the day. I mean, I was a horrible human being, bro. Like I would say that, bro. I mean, those that have read my book, they know, bro. I was, and you know, and I'm not gonna associate, you know, the things that occurred to me, you know, as a child, because everyone has a decision. Everyone, um, you know, has a choice to act or not act, right?
Mhm.
And whatever my environment was, I still decided as a person to act as such, right? To treat people like crap and being disrespectful, rude. And I mean, like you said, I mean, there were some dark moments with us in college, bro. I mean, and we'll talk about them later on, bro. You know, whenever we do feel comfortable about, you know, that freshman year had a lot of dark times, and I mean, we did what we had to do, bro. You know, shout out to Rincon Tapatillo for
Right.
you know,
For
taking care
putting
of us and
putting
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 up.
up putting up with us.
But yeah, bro. No, I mean, you know, just shout out to our listeners. Just hey, keep doing what you got to do. I mean, this is generational. I mean, you know, break that generation curse and do what you got to do to make sure your children, you know, have a better future and better life than we did. I mean, 'cause it has to be like that. I mean, you know, you can't. I don't know. I mean, but I feel if a parent creates an environment that their kid is gonna struggle more and sacrifice, I mean, I don't know, man. But if there's individuals, you know, experiencing something like that, just reach out to us, and you know, we'll find some resources to make sure that you're taken care of, your family's taken care of. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone needs help, needs assistance, and you know, hey, we're here to help, Joe. What you
No,
got?
for
What
sure.
you got?
Man, no, the only lasting parting things, and like we mentioned in our earlier episode, is just to for everyone like out there listening, just to understand that each and every single one of us has that story to tell, man. Like we have our stories, we have our experiences, and you know what? No one can take that away from me. Like no one can take that away from each and every single one of us at all, and no matter how good, bad, or ugly they are. And so, just like I think the challenging part for me was like embracing them and understanding them, but I was able to do it at a very very young age or early age in my life, and I was able to do this while I was in college, understanding who and what I was becoming, right, at that time. And so and understanding that, because I mean, even because it affects all aspects of our lives, our professional, our personal, our relationship wise, and what have you. And we all have those things inside of us that we're still trying to understand. And I feel like now, being 29 years old, like, and I still feel like it took me a little while to figure out, but I feel like I'm so in tune with myself, with my emotions, understanding them, with how I think, how I act, and what have you, a little bit better than what I was even last year. And so with that being said, I mean, I think like it's, again, we all have those stories, so embrace them, understand them. And we definitely hope that that we can get some of our listeners to eventually definitely join us in one of our podcasts as a special guest to just like share what was your experience like, whether it was in transitioning to college, or even as a professional now, and what has led that. So we'll definitely we'll making a call out to folks out there to definitely join us, so they can definitely have that. But I definitely want to end on a notice as well to check out your book, Who Am I Becoming, which is also available on Amazon. So I
Oh,
definitely
just like my background. Check
oh
it.
yeah, there you go. No más falta el mirror.
Damn.
The camera is a mirror, right? So
Right.
yeah, definitely check that book out. Is really really good. Gives you a lot of in depth of your life, right? But more importantly, also like what we can achieve by understanding these things.
Yep.
Alrighty, well, so I think that's a wrap. So again, thank you all for joining us for episode 4 of Between Two Borders. Again, I am Joe Misael Posada Triana.
Anacleto Contreras. That's me.
And this
Thank you.
and thank y'all, and you have a great day.
Bye bye.
Deuce.